Hey guys, this is Paul Jang, and today we're going to be talking about Income School, specifically Project 24. This is going to be a review for them, and it's basically, is blogging right for you, right? And we'll talk about Income School strategy and some of the ways that you could get around this if you are interested in blogging as a side hustle. So here's my unbiased review. What is Income School Project 24? Basically, it's a promise that in 2 years, you'll be able to quit your 9-to-5 job and make enough money from your blog to basically quit and just work on that if you want. A lot of their strategies involve ultimately getting ad revenue. So you write up content for your blog and you get viewers, and those viewers will be getting advertisements on your blog, and you'll get a certain amount of money for every views that you get, and that's how you're gonna build passive income streams. So that's the idea with Income School Project 24 in a nutshell. One of the cool things that they had, and a draw for me, was that they created a plugin some time ago, maybe a year or 2 years ago, called 𝘾𝙀𝙀𝘿. And basically what that is it's a WordPress theme. Income School basically uses WordPress as their platform for blogging, and I highly recommend using WordPress compared to other sites. 𝘾𝙀𝙀𝙀𝘿 is a theme that they use to kind of design how they want their layouts done so that the advertisements come well, that the website is speed friendly and SEO friendly, and it's just light and basically very efficient. That was their goal. What I think after going through their blogging course, the course itself was about like $500, like $449, something like that. And then every year after that, you had to pay like $199 to renew that deal, or like $200. Generally, I would say it was worth it. There's a couple things that you kind of have to consider. Whenever you're looking at blogging, there's different strategies that people give in terms of like what you have to do to make this into a profitable blog. And their mindset was that like, hey, we're not gonna focus so much on the SEO tools and backlinking strategies. We're not gonna focus on that. We're just gonna focus on creating content and using what you think would be basically competitive articles. You go onto Google, see what articles are already there, and see if you can beat it with just your writing. And usually that just means that you're able to beat them in terms of content length. And they have strategies on how you could write better and what type of blog posts you should have. So they've had multiple niche websites. One of their more recent ones was 𝘾𝙀𝙀𝘀𝘿. And 𝘾𝙀𝙀𝙀𝘀𝘀 was a niche website on animals. I think it started first with like reptilian animals, and then it kind of expanded to the other ones. Let me tell you some of the background story to this. So whenever you join Income School, basically you get their course material, but you also get their membership, access to their membership, like it's like a Discord, or like basically where you can ask questions and answers to all the members, basically like a forum, but on their own platform. They don't believe in Facebook group or anything like that. Basically what they did with 𝘾𝙀𝙀𝘀𝘀𝘿 is they hired a bunch of college students to ultimately write the website. And at the point of this video, it came out around to like 100,000 views. So it's done really well. And with that money, they've hired a full-time person to kind of do the editing for them and to make sure that the content is good. One of the things that I've kind of found with Income School is I think they overestimate people's writing skills and how quickly people can write, or how much time investment it's really needed to blog the way that they're talking about. Basically, if you go onto their site, they have like over 150 pages of different articles that they've written to get to the point where they're generating that much traffic. And they're also getting traffic from people like me And anyone that kind of looks up Income School, they'll talk about, the different niche websites that they have, and people will generally search out those, websites. So between that and all the different articles that they have, it's hard to kind of compete if you're writing, articles by yourself. So unless you're gonna be outsourcing or something like that, it's really difficult. There's actually a lot of different strategies on how blogging can work for someone, and I think they kind of downplay that. They focus really on the obscure niches, I feel. So, if you are, interested in a specific type of plant, or like DJing was popular, or bookkeeping, like I tried doing a bookkeeping website and I failed at it because it was pretty niche and I didn't know that much bookkeeping, and I just wasn't really that interested in bookkeeping. There was only so many articles and topics that I wanted to talk about, for QuickBooks and FreshBooks and Xero on all the accounting different principles that they should use, right? Like it got pretty dry pretty fast, especially if it didn't like fit in your kind of like world already. So if you don't have like some specific hobby like that, I think it's like their method is a little bit more like a niche. You have to kind of go more sub-niche for this to work, because if you are, talking about personal finance or marketing or even pets, right? Like it's really competitive. You have to like sub-niche even, deeper to kind of get to a point where you can generate traffic. Those are just some of my thoughts with their course and who should get going with it. If you have like a specific interest, like I think I saw on their website, like there's a testimonial about a guy that like on all things Ecuador, like, that's like very niche. It's not even like TripAdvisor. It's like, if you want to be the authority for Ecuador, take the Income School Project 24 course, because you'll do okay, right? If you follow everything that they do. But if you're on a more competitive niche, it's probably not going to be the case. So who should consider blogging? Consider the time commitment. So here's the thing. A high quality 2,000 word post would take at least 6 hours to write for the average blog writer. The large majority of blogs actually spend less than 6 hours per article. The way that Income School does it, they actually just want you to push articles out. And they have here a pillar post. A pillar post is the most like dense post that you can have. And then it kind of goes down into these other posts, 15 or 1600 words after that, or 2000. And then the other, the smallest article is like 1200 or 1300 articles. And they basically have a formula, create a variety of these like articles in terms of length. And just make sure that any keywords that you have, it matches up with the competition, and you could beat that competition with those keywords. Just in terms of like what I've seen, blocking takes a lot more time than you would think. And if you are interested in that, it's almost like compound interest over time. Like you'll be able to see the dividends in the future. But it's going to be a long time coming. You need to put a lot more work than you think, or at least a lot more financial commitment to outsourcing or writing than you think to make this work. And it has to be in a niche that's pretty niche, like sub-niche. A cool thing that you could do if you are interested in outsourcing your content is doing things like hiring people from overseas. Now you could do it like in the United States, but some of the cheapest places that you could do it is probably like in the Philippines. There's a website called onlinejobs.ph. Basically hire these virtual assistants for a couple dollars per hour. There's like a monthly fee, but after you pay your monthly fee, you can cancel it once you've hired someone. And I've like hired some people like for my blog and got them to write for me. Generally, you will have to spend time like editing the stuff, make sure there's no plagiarism going on. So you could use like a tool like Grammarly. I think their premium subscription is like 10 or 12 bucks a month. Basically gives you the plagiarism like checker. You just check it, make sure it's good. And it'll do a lot of the grammar. Yeah, you'll have to organize it. On the flip side, if you kind of go with more like paid stuff, like it'll be a lot less hands-on, but like you'll see that the quality is a little bit better. Just some food for thought whenever you're hiring people to write your content. What is the success and failure rate of bloggers? 80% of blogs will fail. Let me throw another statistic here for you. The number of blogs on the internet in 2020 has exceeded 600 million. Okay, and all those blogs have multiple articles going on. That's why I mean, like with Income School, I think they're kind of, but if you're in a sub niche, like it works pretty effectively because you're not worried about backlinks or anything like that. You're just focused totally on the content and that's kind of it. The reality is like most bloggers, they don't realize the time commitment that it actually takes. 80% of them will generally fail. That's just kind of the reality of it, right? Those are the statistics. In this one, it was from 𝙉𝙀𝙀𝘿.com, right? Like they posted that statistic, I think from they got it from Forbes, like 80%, 8 out of 10 businesses will fail, and they just use the statistics for blogs. But it's probably right around right. Like most bloggers will fail. There's tools here that I wish Income School kind of told me about, but never did, because they use kind of this like hit and miss system where they basically just check on Google like for different ideas and just kind of goes with it. There's tools out there like Ahrefs and SEMrush or SEMrush, and basically what they'll do is they'll check that a certain keyword that you're searching for, like let's say how to train a dog, right? Let's say that was something that you're searching for. There's a certain amount of people every month searching that exact keyword. And you'll be able to see like, hey, if I win this keyword, right? Like if I could get into the top 5 or top 2, I'll generally get all those viewers, right? But you just kind of have to get to this point like, oh, okay, like, but if I do that, like, I'll be competing with all these other bloggers that are writing about this article. Will I be able to compete with them? Now, Income School basically just takes into consideration like that you're just gonna be writing content, good content, and that like your content's basically gonna be longer than the other ones. But the reality is like Google doesn't really operate like that. At least from everything that I studied on it, there is like an association with like backlinks, right? Like, and what a backlink is basically in their article referencing your article. And it's a good way for Google to recognize like, oh, this blog then must be trustworthy. You know, because if you're new, like Google's not gonna trust you, right? But if you have a bunch like Forbes and Huffington Post and entrepreneur.com, or you know, some of these like big websites, like kind of pointing to your website, you basically gain authority. That's why there's a whole like black market of backlinks and all these other strategies to kind of like boost up your blog. And if you're not doing it, right, like you better be writing like extra good content and a lot more ferociously than the way that Income School is kind of projecting it. Basically, they're like, hey, write 30 articles, and you know, that's kind of the impression that they give. If you write 30 articles, you'll do well. And it's just not the case. Like I'm telling you, it's not the case. It's a lot more work than that. And they kind of like don't say it like that. They kind of just say like, hey, after 30 articles, it's almost like, yeah, like that would replace my job. And it's just not realistic. Okay, those are my thoughts. With everything that I said, like, I love Income School. It kind of opened my eyes to blogging and the potential money that's available there, but it's a little bit skewed, right? Some of the other places that I think their content's like really good is Authority Hacker. They have a podcast, they have like videos. They have an approach of working like backwards. So whereas like with Income School, you choose the niche and kind of like figure out the keywords that will kind of prop your blog up. Basically with Authority Hacker is like, when you choose the niche, you have the end in mind. Like, what is the exit here? Do you want ad revenue? Do you want affiliate marketing? Do you want to sell it later on? And they kind of work backwards to see like, okay, like if that's the case, what type of keywords do I need to search up? And they're a lot more tool heavy than Income School. So I appreciate that because it's a lot more statistical, and I like the data, and I know like what I'm gonna be doing. So that cost though is more expensive than Income School. It's like right around like $1,000 to like get on with them. Okay, so that's it with Authority Hacker. Another place that has informed me a lot with blogging, and he's coming up with his own course, is 𝘾𝙀𝙀𝘶. He's been like blogging since 2019. And it kind of takes this strategy, this idea that like, hey, you actually don't have to write that many articles. And this is totally contrary to Income School's model, right? Like Income School's model is kind of like, almost like put out like good quality content as much as you can. And then, you know, don't worry about all the tools and stuff. They'll say it's unreliable. And then Adam and Froy is kind of like on the very other end. It's like, hey, he says like, hey, you don't even need to write a lot of blog articles. You just need to write a couple really good ones. And then start working on reaching out to these different blogs that have a lot of authority and a lot of viewers, and start asking for guest posts. Because if you get a guest post and that article is published, you'll get viewers from that post going directly to your blog. And what happens is it gives Google a sign like, hey, your blog is trustworthy. And so Adam and Froy was able to crack into the marketing niche like pretty quickly, I think in 2018. So we're talking about like a year, 2 years. And he's constantly putting guest posts out, getting referrals from all these sites, basically, you know, all the traffic, you know, we'll just say like Forbes traffic, and basically some of that traffic will be funneled onto his site. But the couple articles that he has, he ranks very well on Google, and it's basically, it brings him a very targeted group of people generally interested in blogging. That's his focus. So that's it for Income School. I generally really like their thoughts. I think it's a very good, fresh perspective. They have like a pretty good system to kind of get you started, but this idea of Project 24, getting out of your job in 2 years, it's a little bit misleading, and the amount of work that it actually takes is a lot more work than you think. I think that's really it. As long as you have the proper expectations on things, I think it's great. Just don't, I think just focus on a niche that really interests you, because at least for me, when I did it was called bookkeeperplanet.com, I hated it. Like I pushed like 20 articles and I had to keep on pushing and stuff. It was just a mess. It was not a business. I was basically just working in it and not really setting it up right. That's basically the way to say it. So that's it with Income School Project 24. If you want to go get blogging, you know, information or things like that, check out Income School, check out Authority Hacker, check out Adam and Froy, and maybe, you know, just look at YouTube or Udemy to kind of get you started. If you need, you know, more information, generally you could just find that on YouTube. But if you want something more systematic, I highly encourage Income School. I would just say kind of realize there's a little bit more than they're saying, and just have a larger time frame of making your blog work. That's all I would say with Income School. Otherwise, I think they're fantastic. Okay. That's it, guys. Have a good one. If you like building multiple streams of income and you want to know different opportunities or different ways to make money, you know, subscribe, like this video, and it helps us out with the YouTube algorithm, and it'll showcase other videos as well to your feed. Have a good one. Take care.